I'm going to tell you ways in which I stopped freaking out during the GMAT and got to a score of 760 in a single attempt. And we are starting right now. I'm going to talk you through 5 things. Staying calm under pressure, maintaining internal awareness or self-awareness, maintaining external awareness or attention to detail, ignoring distractions or keeping your focus, and finally, thinking long-term and controlling impulsive behavior during the course of the exam. As far as staying calm under time pressure is concerned, the biggest thing you need to remember is that time during the exam only matters at the checkpoints. What I mean by checkpoints is that you need to check on the time only after every block of 5 to 10 questions. You don't need to keep looking at the clock after every question that you've solved. Another aspect that you need to remember is that you need to train your mind to pace automatically. What this means is that while you're preparing for the test, you need to eventually get to a point where you're timing yourself while solving questions. This could be over the last 7 to 8 days of the exam when you're doing mock tests, or it could be over an extended period in the month leading up to your final exam. This automatic pacing will allow you to just move from question to question instead of having to check the clock repeatedly. Most importantly, this strategy automatically saves you time. By training yourself during practice, you also ensure that you get used to the rhythm of the exam instead of depending on speeding up or slowing down on the final day of the GMAT. Once you have sufficient practice, all you need to do on the day of the exam is to actually just trust yourself and just go with the flow. Somewhere on the top right of the screen, I'll also put a link to another video that I'm doing on my end-to-end time management strategy that actually elaborates more on the point that I made earlier about checkpoints and some of the other things that you can do to ensure that you're able to solve all the questions on the test. The second thing which is very important is learning how to maintain internal awareness or self-awareness during the course of the exam. Like everything else in life, you get better at this by practicing it repeatedly over the course of your preparation for the GMAT. The key here is that when you're solving practice questions, you need to think deeply about the solution. And it is not just about getting things right or wrong, or just looking at the process that you have written down on paper. You have to get inside your head and identify what are some points at which you could have redirected your mental thought process to ensure that you got to the right answer instead of depending purely on the external environment or writing things down on paper. Now, I'm a big proponent of writing things down on paper, but at the same time, you have to also develop the capability of processing things mentally in the right manner to reduce your error rates overall. Every time you solve a practice question, you get the opportunity to compare your way of doing things to the solution of that question. This gives you the opportunity of introspecting about your mental process and correcting that process itself so that you can unconsciously eliminate these errors. The biggest thing about self-awareness is that this is something which actually stays with you way beyond the GMAT, and it is not something which will help you only on this exam, but in literally any exam that you give in the future. Also, it gets easier over time. So initially, while it might feel like a struggle, if you just keep at it, it will just get easier and easier, and it might actually be something that you can have a lot of fun with over time. Before I go to the next idea, I want to remind you that if you're interested in content about the GMAT, B-School applications, or what studying at an Ivy League business school looks like, remember to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. The third thing is the idea of maintaining external awareness or attention to detail. And this is something which is very critical on the GMAT because the way GMAT questions are designed, the test makers almost always will try to trap you into making very minute little errors that emerge from ignoring little details on the question. A simple instance of that is, for example, ignoring the modulus sign on a question. Connecting back to the first idea of staying calm under pressure, it is important to remember that feeling rushed and acting rushed are two different things. When you're acting rushed, it becomes natural for us to literally ignore everything around us and focus on a task so much that we start to make illogical jumps and ignore details in our environment. On the other hand, you can feel rushed internally, but at the same time, find a place of calm from which you can continue to solve questions while paying attention to those little details that will actually help you get to the right answer. This also connects to the idea of managing trade-offs. Sometimes the best way to maintain your external awareness is to limit the number of questions you're trying to solve. So if you're constrained on time, instead of trying to solve all the 5 remaining questions, maybe you should just guess 2 of them and focus on solving 3 questions correctly instead of trying to answer all 5 questions and in the process ignoring little details that result in you getting all 5 answers wrong. Once again, this is something that requires constant practice, and you have to repeatedly put yourself in tough situations in order to get to a place where you're able to make such decisions quickly. The fourth thing I want to speak about is how you can ignore distractions and maintain focus during the test. GMAT testing centers are typically controlled environments. However, there are things that are outside the control of organizers, and this would be little things like traffic, it could be little things like renovation going on in the next room. And these are things that you need to expect beforehand instead of going in with the assumption that you're going to have a super quiet room that will allow you to focus completely on the question in front of you. The only way to actually solve this is to literally expect these distractions and don't try to resist them. Most importantly, don't respond to them emotionally by getting frustrated or angry during the course of the exam. The organizers of the test will also provide you with a pair of earplugs, and if they don't already give it to you, you can always ask someone at the test center. If you need them, use it. If it helps, the earplugs I was given during the test look very much like a pair of noise cancelling headphones. Another tactic, which is actually very psychological in nature, and I do not want to get into too much detail on this in order to stay on topic, is that if you're feeling too frustrated or too emotional about something that is happening around you, the best course of action is to just take a deep breath, not resist that emotion, and literally just continue to solve questions as if nothing has happened. You will realize that within a matter of seconds, your mind will go back into that focused mode where it is able to ignore everything in your environment and solve questions quickly one after the other. The last thing I want to speak about is the idea of thinking long term or controlling impulse during the course of the exam. This point actually connects to two very polarizing options that you are likely to face during the exam. The first one is that you might feel like giving up on a question literally within seconds of looking at it. Looking at the situation impulsively, you might feel like just randomly guessing and moving on, but I recommend that you just pause for a few seconds, observe the question, and see if you can come up with something to attack that question in some way. Understand that I'm talking specifically about questions where you feel like giving up just because you cannot come up with a solution immediately. You need to have some patience and give your mind a few extra seconds to identify a pattern or identify an angle of approach to get to the solution there. The other extreme option you'll have is to actually spend too much time on a question. And this is something that people who are targeting like a score of 51 on quant will typically face. The most important thing to remember here is that you do not necessarily need to get every single question right to get a score of 51 on any section of the GMAT. Instead of spending too much time on a question, 4 minutes or 5 minutes, you're better off just investing that time in the rest of the questions and getting all of them right. One of the little details about the exam that a lot of people forget is that the test also includes experimental questions that will actually not influence your score on the test. While there is no way to know which question exactly is the experimental one, you need to remember that sometimes skipping a question is the best strategy. So those were all the ideas I wanted to share with you today. I hope that this will help you exercise more emotional and psychological control during the course of your exam. Putting all of these things in action should help you get to your peak score no matter the context. Remember to subscribe to the channel, and if you have any questions for me or comments, just put it in the comments below and I'll make sure I respond to you within 48 hours. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.